Enjoy the episode. Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Shit I Need to Know. This is episode 10, the final episode of this season. I am so excited because today I'm going to be learning about the biggest thing that I need to learn about for my future, and that is how to motivate myself and how to be more organized. And today I'm talking with Jeanette Allom-Hill. How are you going, Jeanette?
Hello, I'm going very well. Thank you for having me on your final episode. Let's go out with a big bang, shall we?
Definitely. I'd love to do that. All right. Well, let's waste no time, and I'd love to get into the first question.
Go for it.
I'm actually a part of the GI Challenge this year, and I'm doing it as a part of a platform launch. And so I really need to know, because I'm finding myself how I'm usually at school, unmotivated and unorganized to do tasks and to finish things. How do I set myself up for success and excel in motivation for this task?
Wonderful question. And first of all, congratulations, because that is an incredible achievement to get to where you have. I know it's very, very stiff competition. I highly admire the what you're doing, and I think that congratulations is in order and first. So
thank you.
I think the secret is, and I think you don't want to change who you are. I'm a very firm believer in playing to your strengths, and the things that you do incredibly well sets you up for success. So first and foremost, don't try and change who you are or be something different or think I have to be like that, because that's not who you naturally are. So, that's the first foundation. I think that you're doing something that you're really excited about. I've heard you chat about it, and you're very passionate and very committed to it, and it's certainly something that you understand and know from your experience. So having that foundation of who you are and being really passionate about something should help give you a little bit of, oomph to go ahead and do something about it. But I think just some basic structure, Matt. I think that if you have something that's due, my secret to success is I'm a very disciplined person. It's just who I am, and I'm a list girl, and I tick things off, and you'll laugh to know that even while I'm not actually working at the moment, I have a list every day of things that I do, at what time they are, and I tick them off when I get at home, like having coffee at Homegrown at Palmwoods, tick. So, completely different. But I think you want to think about how passionate you are about what it is that you're doing, and then put some goals in, some really simple things like if I'm doing a presentation or I've got an assignment due for my PhD, I'll know when it's due, and I allocate X amount of time on a certain day all the time. So, it might be Wednesdays from 10 till 12 are my days to do something, and I set the tasks out and I work my way back, and I say, right, if I'm doing a presentation in 5 weeks, at 4 weeks I want to have a pretty much draft that I can run by somebody. 3 weeks I want to have the PowerPoint done. 2 weeks I want to have the content done. And at week 1, I'm just going to start to think about the thought structure, and I use my notes on my iPhone and I write things down in week 1, and then I know by Wednesday, week 2, 10 to 12, I'm due to put the content in. By week 3, I'm due to put the presentation together. By week 4, I want to run it by somebody. So I think just having a little bit of a rhythm of what you do, and just set small amounts like bite sizes. So say Wednesdays from 10 to 12 is the time that I dedicate myself to the work that I'm doing.
That's fantastic, because I find myself getting to that a complete opposite predicament. We'll have this has actually happened a lot of times. A presentation will be due at school. I can name a few in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And we get given it 5 weeks in advance. By week 4, I'm playing video games. Week 3, I'm playing video games. Week 2, I'm getting a little bit stressed, but I'm still playing video games.
Playing video games.
Now, week 1, I will still be playing some video games, but I'll be like, maybe I should open PowerPoint.
Maybe you should.
And it's due on Friday, right? And we also had to present it on Friday. Wednesday night, I'm like, yeah. Oh, my friend's calling. Okay, I'll talk to him.
I'm very very busy talking to my friend. And can I ask, Matt, do you do well in that presentation when you do it at that last minute? Is it something that you feel like is your best self when you're presenting, or do you wish that you'd had a bit more time to really put time and effort into it?
Yeah, every time I do wish I had more time, but I just keep on finding that right to the last minute I get it done. And sometimes I've still gotten a good grade out of it, but I don't feel good about it. I feel completely stressed, and when I'm doing it, I'm so anxious because I don't know if what I'm saying is good.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine if you could take that anxiety away. I have a little bit of and obviously you'll share this with everyone because I'm saying it, but my husband teases me because I have an ethos of chores before rewards. So I'm a bit of I have to tidy the house before I'm allowed to have my cup of coffee, or I have to, finish something before I'm allowed to do something that I really like. And I wonder with you, maybe something that might work for you is think about, if I want to play my video games, I have to do half an hour dedicated to whatever it is that's due, and then I can do 2 hours of video games. So it's almost like doing a little bit of a debate with yourself. And something else I do, which you said, which was really interesting, is that it makes you feel stressed. So I would try and imagine that feeling, when you're doing that last minute cramming and you're thinking, have I got it right? And I would maybe try to think about how that makes you feel and think, well, how can I take that away? Because I don't like how that makes me feel. The way I could do it is week 1, I could say, I'm going to do my 2 hours of gaming now, but before I do my 2 hours of gaming, I'm just going to give it half an hour of just getting my 5 slides together and just putting in the notes section. On this slide, I'm going to say that. On this slide, I'm going to say that. This slide, I'm going to say that. And then next week, I'm going to, put pictures in the slides or whatever. And I'm going to spend half an hour before I do my 2 hour of gaming, and constantly remind yourself, chores before rewards, and how do I feel when I'm anxious and I feel like I haven't given it my best shot when I get that grade. So it's almost like having that debate with yourself about how it makes you feel.
So would you say it is really setting yourself up for even like getting your mental health in check as well? You're going to feel a lot better at the end of it. And even though, you're taking some time away from what you love, at the end of it, you're going to feel rewarded, I guess.
Exactly. And I love that. That's a really good way to pull it out. And I think often if I have something due, I want to give it my best shot. So in order to do that, I sort of challenge myself to say, in order to give it my best shot, I know that I need time to really frame it up. I need time to think about it. And if you're thinking about presenting something, so, recently I presented Sunshine Coast Business Women's Network, and I did a presentation, 30 slides, 45-minute presentation. And I really started with a thought process of, I want those people that are in that room to walk away and do something differently. I want to challenge the way they think, or I want to solve a problem that they have. And because I was very passionate about finishing with that, it helped me really spend the time and energy on getting the content right. And when I stood up there, I felt really proud of myself that I'd put so much time and effort into something that would really impact others. So I thought about it more about, the people that were receiving it than me actually doing it. So I felt like I had to give it time because that was out of respect for the audience that I was presenting to. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, because you're not only doing yourself a service, but you're actually doing the audience who are listening to it a service as well. You're making your content that you're talking about worthwhile for them to be listening to, and really sets yourself up for their engagement.
Yep, exactly. Spot on.
Yeah, and I guess, for me, it's the 18th of October I need to get my presentation in, so I should be starting it now.
You absolutely should. But just small bite size. Like I always say to everybody who's facing a challenge, or, and this is, not the biggest challenge you're ever going to face, nor have you faced. But I think just, set yourself a little bit of a challenge to say 18th of October, if I work back, a week, that's this date, what's the thing I'm going to do on that date, and that date, and that date. And then just set that timeline in motion. And you'll find that when you get to the 18th, you're not running around. and this is such an important thing to you. You're passionate about it. You know, you've done such an incredible job to get where you are already against all that competition. Respect that process, and think, you know, that they chose me because they know what I'm trying to do is amazing and game changing, and the way that I'm thinking is really going to help people, you know, to what you spoke about in regards to what you're doing. So put the effort in to do it to the best that you possibly can, because, you know, that's ticking a box for you, but it's also ticking a box for the judges who have chosen you out of all those people because the idea that you had was such a good one. So give it the effort that it needs for them to really see it come alive, and that will give you such an opportunity to win. And have you got competition in any of your strengths? If you're a bit of a competition person, sometimes I find that if I'm motivating teams, that helps. If I understand, if I've got people that go, well, I want to be better than that person, or I want to be the best in this. In order to do that, you have to plan ahead. You have to give it your best amount of focus and effort to really give it the best outcome. And sometimes if competition's a strength of yours, that helps motivate someone by saying, come on, you know, you want to be the best at this, and in order to do this, this is what you've got to do.
Yeah, that's a fantastic way of putting it, and I think that's really opened my eyes up in really not also being like selfish and thinking, oh, no one's going to really care about this, so why do I put this effort in? And also, these people actually have taken time and energy to think about me and, you know, give me a chance, and they want me to exceed, and I need to give that to them. Now,
you absolutely do.
I'd love to know, for the audience, I'd love to know more about you, Jeanette. So what work have you done?
Oh, so much. I suppose one of my biggest achievements this year is that I won Telstra Businesswoman of the Year for public service and academia, and I'm very honoured to have won that. That was out of a very large selection of people, and it was based very much on who I am as a leader. I'm a brave leader with heart. You know, and I've had a really amazing career both across private and public sector. And, you know, I just love an opportunity to try and change the face of leadership. I have a very firm belief that in order for people to be their best selves, including you, you need leaders who are compassionate and kind, but, you know, who are capable and driven and still very results orientated, but leaders that bring the best out in people. And, you know, that's pretty much my life work. And I have that opportunity to have conversations about that and hopefully share with people like you a little bit of what I've learned along the way to make it a little bit easier and allow you to be the best person that you can possibly be. Sometimes putting some structure around that really helps you be the best that you can be. You know, things like not being organised and racing at the last minute are really not showcasing the amazing person that you are. And, you know, as a leader, I want you to have that opportunity because you deserve that.
That's fantastic. Huge congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
It's such a huge achievement as well. Good job.
Thank you very much. It validates everything that you do sometimes. Yeah. You know, if you have to stand out and be a leader who is different, to win awards like that just really validates that all that was worth it along the journey. And I've made some big and important career choices, but I've also had some great opportunities, and with great power comes great responsibility. So now it's about making sure that I give back and we create environments where people can do their best work, and therefore organisations are inherently successful. You know, all my time at Microsoft, we led based on strengths. So we led based on what people were great at. You know, we talked about that. What are you really good at? And how do we use those strengths to make you be the best deliverer that you can in the things that you need to do? And, you know, Microsoft really trained me in that, which has helped, I think, for years and years of my ability to really help others, you know, see a way to really shine, you know, in the opportunities that you've been given, which is this great recent one for you. So how do we make sure that you can shine to the best of your ability and not allow deadlines and gaming and calls with friends to get in the way of showcasing what you're thinking about and the great ideas that you have? And, you know, it really touched me when you said, you know, it really helps give people a voice. And, you know, let's not lose that by not being able to give it the time that it takes to really let the judges understand what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, fantastic way of putting it. Thank you so much for saying all of that. It really is validating to also hear such good feedback and input in what I'm doing. And I think that feedback and, good, honest feedback really helps people out. And I think that can also motivate people.
And you know what? There's something that I've based feedback on for a really long time, and it's called the behaviours of cohesive teams. So there's like a triangle, and the base of that is always trust. And I think what a lot of leaders do incorrectly is they don't build that foundation first. So if you and I hadn't had a relationship and I started to come in and tell you exactly what I think you should do, the likelihood that you're going to listen to me is Buckley's and none, because you're like, who is she and what gives her the right to tell me how to do something? And, we'll get off this call and you'll go game. We won't get off this call and you'll go do your PowerPoint. But because we've already met each other and we have a foundation of trust, I've now built that ability to be able to give you some feed firm back and say to you, and in the next level of the triangle, they call it conflict. I don't call it conflict, I call it courageous conversations. So even though people say, you're a really kind leader and you're compassionate, I'm very comfortable to tell people exactly what I think. And I think that's a balance. You think, well, I'm a great leader and people feel comfortable, but you've built enough trust for me to say to you, look, don't let yourself down. You've done such a good job to get to this point. Don't not spend the time and effort now to really get across what you need to do, because then you're going to lose out, because you're not going to be the best person, because there'll be someone else who's gone into this competition who spent a lot of time and energy for a very long period of time before the competition really framing and thinking about what they're doing in this presentation. So by the time they get to the presentation, they've thought about it, they've framed it, the PowerPoint's completely rocking, and being an ex-Microsoft girl, I quite like a rocking PowerPoint, but they probably practiced it. I don't ever do a presentation without practicing it. I practice on myself, I practice on a girlfriend, I'll often practice on my poor 13-year-old who just thinks that's disgraceful. But I do, and I'll practice in the car, I'll practice so that when I get up there, the main thoughts are in my head, but it's because I've spent time doing it. Whereas if you're leaving content right to the end and the ability to practice, all that's mushing together, and that's my technical word, and you won't really be able to articulate the great content without the time. So I can tell you that because you and I have built a foundation of trust, and you know that I'm doing it from a good place because I care about you and I want you to win. So therefore that's how feedback works. Whereas if you'd never met me before and I started to tell you how you should do things, you'd be like, yeah, right.
It's true. It's
right.
So true.
I just want to get on. She's very bossy, this woman.
I just want to go now.
Yeah, I got to go now. Bye.
Oh, that is so good to hear, and really sets in stone what we should be doing. Now, I want to ask you a final 3-tip question. Well, give me 3 tips on how to be the best version of yourself.
I love it. That's a really good question. And it sort of repeats the things we've talked about. I think it's important for you to know what you're good at. And I talk about being a strengths-based leader. In order to be your best self, you need to be really comfortable with what you do really well. I spent a lot of my career with people saying, people aren't good at this, so you need to get better at that. Or these are your weaknesses and you need to do more of them. Or you'd go in for an interview and people would say to you, well, what don't you do well? I think one of the biggest things that will help you be successful, Matt, is know what you're really good at and do more of that. Don't try and do more of what you're not good at because the world wants you to do that. Just understand who you are. And there are some amazing tools. I'm a bit of a Gallup Strength Finder girl. Because, but there are hundreds of different tools that you can use. Myers-Briggs was one of the first tools that we used, but it's evolved a little bit. And, you can buy a Gallup Strength Finder book, you can do the questionnaire, and it comes out, and there's millions of combinations. So know who you are, whichever way you get that, understand what you're great at, and do more of that. So that's like your first thing. Once you've got that foundation of, I'm really good at these things, I'm going to do more of them. People say to me, you're very, very clear on your purpose, who you are, what you want to do, what you're good at. that came from understanding my strengths. So I can very clearly say to you, Matt, I'm really good at these things, and I give you examples of how, but there are certain things that I might not be good at, but I know how to surround myself with people that are good at that. So therefore, you've got this complete competency in the way that you deliver things, because I understand what I bring and what else I need to bring to the table. So I think that's always going to be your number one thing. Number two is live your truth. I'm very big on, as a leader, being very authentic about who I am. It probably wasn't until I came to the coast that I started to tell my story, because I felt like I was in an environment where, it was just ripe to feel trust and feel like that my story was something that would impact and benefit others. And that took a really long period of time for me to get to that place where I felt safe. But live your truth. Know who you are, live your truth, and be proud of that. You're an amazing young man. You have a beautiful family. Your mother is a rock star. You're a very lucky young man. You've got that around you. You've got love. You've got wisdom. You've got truth. Allow that to shape you to be who you want to be without any boundaries. I think that's very important. And then third, do something good with that. If you are blessed with understanding who you are and being able to live your best life, do something about that. Give back. I wrote an article this week for my weekly preview, because I was so deeply touched recently by the death of the amazing Ruth, the High Court judge, and she talked about living. What is a good life? And a good life is a life that gives back. And, you look at everything she achieved in her career, and I think, she died knowing that she had changed the world. Now, not all of us get that opportunity to change the world or, do something about female rights or be a High Court judge, but every single one of us get an opportunity to impact a community and do something amazing. Your mum is renowned in the community and for the things that she has done and the conversations she has, and so you've got yourself a pretty good role model, my friend. But I think, understand who you are, live who you are, your best life based upon your authentic self and what you bring, and believe in that, being different, going through things, learning how to be resilient. Everything that you bring to the table is something of benefit, and know that, that incredible young voice that you have, that, doing things like this. I mean, that's incredible. And then give back. With everything that you get, give something back, something little, something big, something amazing, give something back. And you're already doing that, Matt, with the competition, and what you've actually entered is giving back based upon what you've learned, and helping others around resilience and having a voice. And so, you're doing those three things. Just keep on doing them.
Fantastic. Well, that was very, very well said. I really loved that. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Jeanette. It was an amazing conversation, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it.
And I'm going to hold you to account to that PowerPoint, young man.
I will. I'll send you a photo.
That this week I'm going to be texting you and saying, even if you just work your way back, 18th of October, all I ask you to do is go 18th of October, what do I need to have done by that week? That week you want to be able to practice your presentation with mum or dad or friends, or that gorgeous girlfriend of yours. Week before, what do you want to have done? Week before and week before. So we're about 4 weeks away from it, aren't we? So just go, week 1 I need to do this, week 2 I need to do this, week 3, and then set some time, before I do my gaming, between dinner and gaming, or between breakfast and lunch, whenever you're your best self, so you're a morning person or an evening person, promise me that as a result of this conversation, you'll go and put a little bit of structure around giving that your absolute best, because you deserve that, and the audience deserves that, and the people that you're designing this platform for deserve that as well.
Yeah, well, I certainly will after this. This has really inspired me.
And don't think I won't follow up on you, because I will.
Don't worry. I'm not downing it for a second.
I'll stalk you out at Palmwoods while you're having breakfast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
homegrown.
I'm going to be running. Yeah, that's the best word to say. or not, because I'll actually be organised this time.
You will. Exactly, because it's a phenomenal idea, and to get to this point, you deserve to have a really strong voice, and to give it a strong voice, you need to give it time and effort, and that's just what happens, right?
Well, thank you. Thanks so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and
Lovely to chat to you.
thank you for watching this episode, the last episode of Shit I Need to Know. And we were talking a little bit about a platform. Now, you will be hearing more about that over the next few months. So stick around onto this Facebook account, which is Clocking Chooks, but even that might be changing as well. So stick around, have a look out for what we're going to be doing next, and I can't wait. And I'll see you in the next episode. Well, when will that be? I've had no idea. Alright, me broskies, I gotta bounce. Alright, me broskies, I gotta bounce. But it's been a cool 9 weeks, and I hope you enjoyed this episode as well. I know.
Really good questions and nice flow. Well done. We did good. Sometimes it's hard when someone's interviewing you because it feels a little bit disjointed. Whereas with yours, it just felt like it really flowed and we were just chatting over a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So